To all the souls seeking silence in the night, this is Silent Night Narrator. Tonight, as the world drifts into slumber and the rain taps gently on your window, let this true tale guide you into a darker realm, where the line between what is and what might be becomes unclear. Breathe in, relax, but don't close your eyes too quickly, for sometimes true fear whispers right at the edge of your dreams. It's raining again tonight. The drops fall steadily on the old tin roof, whispering gently through the night. Have you ever spent the night in a strange place and felt like someone else was there with you, even when you knew you were alone? Let me tell you a story about a room in a forgotten boarding house at the edge of the city. Room number 7. Years ago, I moved to the city for work. I didn't have much money, so I rented a cheap old house hidden deep in a narrow alley. It was quiet. 8 rooms in total. I was given room number 6. Everything seemed fine, until I asked the landlord about room number 7, the one right next to mine. She looked away. That room, no one stays long. It's empty. But that first night as I was unpacking, I clearly heard the sound of a chair dragging and footsteps coming from room 7. Must be a new tenant, I thought. But the next morning, I asked again. She shook her head slowly. No, dear. That room's been locked for 2 years. Night after night, at exactly 2 a.m., I'd hear the door of room 7 slowly creak open. Then came footsteps and soft breathing. I pressed my ear to the wall. No talking, no light, but someone was in there. I knocked once. No reply. I tried the doorknob, tightly locked. But the next morning, there was a single old slipper outside the door. Every night, the same sounds. One night, the rain was heavier than usual. Thunder rolled through the sky. I couldn't sleep. Then I heard it again. The chair, the footsteps. But this time, they were right behind the wall where I slept. I whispered, "Is someone there?" Silence. Then, a soft chuckle, old and distant. I jumped out of bed and ran to the hallway. Room 7's door was still locked, but the slipper outside was soaked in rainwater, and the floor was covered in fresh, muddy footprints. The next day, I asked an older tenant. He looked at me, then whispered, "You're new, huh?" Years ago, an old man lived in that room. He died inside, on a rainy night. No one noticed for a week. Since then, no one stays. Everyone says someone crawls into bed with them in the middle of the night. That night, I left the lights on, but at 2 a.m., I still heard the creak and a whisper right next to my ear. This bed already has 2 people. I moved out the week after, but sometimes on nights like this, when the rain falls just right, I remember that room number 7, the wet slipper, the voice in the dark, and I wonder if someone still lives there. And while the rain continues to fall softly outside your window, let's drift into another tale. Story begins, the room that wasn't on the floor plan. I moved into the city for university. Like most broke students, I wasn't picky. If a room was cheap, clean, and had a lock, it was good enough. When I found an old 4-story building tucked between a laundromat and an abandoned bookstore, it seemed perfect. Quiet. Almost too quiet, but perfect. My room was on the 3rd floor, room 304. The landlady, Mrs. Harrow, gave me a rusty key and warned, "Don't go exploring. This place has old bones." I thought she was joking. She wasn't smiling. I'd been living there for about a week when I noticed something strange. The hallway had 6 doors, but the floor plan in the elevator showed only 5 rooms on the 3rd floor. I double-checked it. Room 304, where I stayed. Room 305, next to mine. Rooms 301, 302, and 303, all accounted for. But the door across from mine, the one with no number, wasn't listed anywhere. At first, I assumed it was a broom closet. I even tried turning the knob once, just to see. Locked. Of course. That night, I woke up to the sound of something. A gentle knock. Not at my door. Across the hallway. 3 soft taps. Then silence. I didn't open my door. I didn't move. The next morning, I asked Mrs. Harrow, "Is someone staying across from me?" She didn't look up from her tea. "That room's been locked since '98. Used to be storage before the fire." I should have let it go. But curiosity is louder than caution, especially when it whispers at 3 a.m. That night, the knocking returned. This time, it was followed by a soft shuffle, like bare feet, pacing slowly inside. I pressed my ear to my door. Nothing. But when I stepped out into the hallway, that door, the one with no number, was open, just slightly. Inside, it was dark, but I saw movement, a pale figure, standing still, facing the wall. I whispered, "Hello?" The figure didn't turn, didn't move, but the door creaked wider, like it was inviting me in. I shut my eyes. When I opened them again, the door was closed. The next morning, I packed my bags. Before I left, I glanced one last time at the elevator floor plan. There were only 5 rooms on that floor, but someone, or something, was still knocking. And I no longer cared what was behind that door, because I realized something far worse. What if the room wasn't real, but the thing inside it was? The rain hasn't stopped, and neither have the stories. This next one comes from a quiet writer who thought they were alone in their house. But sometimes, when a house grows old enough, it remembers things that don't stay behind walls or inside floor plans. So, make yourself comfortable. And don't worry, it's just the window. It's just rain. When I first moved in, the house felt wrong, not haunted, just tilted in some invisible way. I found the place through an online listing. A small cottage near the woods, perfect for writing and escaping the city noise. Cheap, old, and surrounded by trees that whispered at night. It had 3 rooms, a kitchen, a bedroom, and a study. But the strangest part was the window in the study. It was tall, narrow, and looked directly out at a blank wall. No garden, no street view, just bricks. Almost as if the house had been built backward, or the window was never meant to be there. At first, I ignored it. Writers romanticize weird things, but every night, while I worked, I felt something. Not a presence. More like a memory, gently pressing against the glass. Sometimes I'd hear a soft tap, tap, tap on the pane. I blamed the wind. Until one night, I saw a fingerprint. Just one. Pressed flat against the inside of the glass, I wiped it. It came back the next night, then 2 prints, then 5. As if someone had been standing there facing me. I started closing the curtains. That helped, until the tapping moved. Not on the glass, but inside the walls. Software methodical, like someone walking in circles, behind the bricks. One night I stayed up past 3 a.m. trying to finish a short story. The room was silent, except for the rain outside. Then, without warning, the tapping stopped. What replaced it was breathing, low, wet, ragged, so close I could feel it in my own lungs. I spun toward the window. The curtains were drawn, but I could see something moving behind them. A slow shadow, tall, still. Then, the curtain pulled back just a little, and on the other side of the glass was not a wall. It was a hallway, dimly lit, with wallpaper just like mine. And at the end of that hallway, a door, opening slowly, and someone exactly like me, same face, same eyes, stepping toward the window from the inside. I blinked, and everything was back, just the brick wall again, just rain, no hallway, no shadow. But on the window, one last message appeared, written in fog. You're in the wrong house. Sleep well tonight, and if you hear footsteps next door, just remember, it's only the rain. But if, when the story ends, you still hear it falling, know this: not everything that knocks at your window is just the wind. Sleep well, if you dare.